First of all, what is culture? Culture is the characteristic and knowledge of a particular group of people, including language, religion, cuisine, social habits, and arts.
Cultural diversity is the quality of diverse and different cultures. The term of cultural diversity can also mean having people from different cultures respecting each other's differences, as culture is what shapes us, as it shapes our actions and identity. Cultural diversity is incredibly important because the current society we live in is built up with different cultures. Cultural diversity lets people to learn from a different culture to see things from different perspectives.
Cultural barriers can be understood as the challenges that appears when two different cultures are communicating to each other. When people from different cultures try to communicate, the difference in languages, beliefs, symbols, and body gestures can all become a sort of barrier between two cultures. As we live in a society built up with hundreds and thousands of different cultures, it is important as an individual that we accept and embrace, and culture barriers should not be used as an excuse to exclude, harm, and damage a culture. As we live in a society that is built up from a variety of cultures, culture barrier and difference will exist no matter what, as different cultures have different understanding of things, gestures, symbols, languages, and beliefs. All these can be considered as a factor to become barriers when people from different cultures communicate. Said by Jones and Warner in 1996, culture is the pattern of taking for granted assumptions about how given collections of people should think, act, and feel as they go about their daily affairs. Culture can be considered handed down from one generation to another as it gives people a way, a point of view to see, to express and to live. And culture barrier can also be caused by the lack of cultural diversity. And cultural diversity has an important link towards culture barrier and difference. Our group aims to use cultural diversity as a cutting point to build and design a more inclusive, just, equitable, and more friendly society that we currently live in.
My personal research direction is use Eastern and Western color theory in commercial residential premise to educate the society. Australia is a typical immigration country. For now, about 8 million immigrants living in Australia, and about 30% population were born overseas. So there are a large number of people with different cultural background in Australia. To let them better understand cultural barriers, in this project, I want to design a motel. This motel consists for 2 rooms. Those 2 rooms are designed in the style of Eastern color theory and style of Western color theory. People can experience the feeling of different culture in different rooms. The reason why I choose color, it is because I think color are a good way to understand the culture, because the meaning of color in different culture are different, especially the understanding of color in Eastern and Western culture. So color different in the Eastern. In the East, take China as an example. In China, yellow is a symbol of status and power, because yellow is the color of the line in the eyes of the Chinese. Ancient Chinese emperor also called the Yellow Emperor, which means the person in charge of the line. So therefore, yellow has been registered as a symbol of power, royal, and prosperity in Chinese since ancient time. But the meaning of the yellow in Western culture is closer to people's intuitive feeling. Yellow symbolizes the sun in the West, so the meaning of the yellow is sunshine, warmth, hope, and happiness.
Hello everyone, my name is Verity. My topic is using education to promote cultural diversity and cultural inclusion amongst teenagers, especially the Eastern and Western art cultures. While focus on teenagers, 20.4% of teenagers were treated unfairly because of their cultural background. The best time for education is between the ages of 12 and 18, when teenagers begin to form moral beliefs. Teenagers are the hope of the future. 84.2% of teenagers think educational institutions are the most effective place to make friends. So I decided to create a youth cultural community center. The exterior design of the cultural community center uses multiple colors to represent the inclusiveness of the design. The interior design uses a maze pattern to increase teenagers' engagement and interest. Cultural community center teach young people about cultural diversity through the arts, because art and culture complement each other. Painting styles and painting habits in different places reflect different cultural debates. Community center is divided into 3 areas. The first area is to provide diversity pending courses so that teenagers can be interested in multicultural under the correct guidance. The second area is youth art exhibitions. Teenagers can spread culture by giving speeches of their own paintings. Also, they can learn about other cultures while listening to others. The third area is the exhibition of Eastern and Western paintings, which aims to broaden teenagers' horizons and inspiration their thinking patterns. In general, the Youth Cultural Community Center is an inclusive social institution, have a positive impact on the lives of teenagers, to enable young people to improve their understanding of Eastern and Western culture through art, and reduce cultural barriers to build a more inclusive, just, and equitable society.
My focus is the use of Eastern and Western color theories to educate the society in culture difference and apply to commercial premises to create a more inclusive society. The color within our culture. According to research, there are 11 primary colors that has been taken and implemented into 98 different languages, but the meanings of each colors are different. The culture and meaning behind a color is still a debate as if they could be categorized, as the meaning of a color may shift as time goes and changes within different scenarios. My concept is to bring Eastern color theory into the community, where people can explore, learn, and understand the difference between Eastern color theory and Western color theory. Also understand the culture behind it, somewhat educating the community the difference in Eastern and Western culture, resulting in creating a more cultural diversity community in Australia. To apply Eastern and Western color theory in commercial premises, in this case, I'll be designing a gallery space. Ideally, the focus group would be all age groups. Therefore, gallery is one of the best choice. The place would need to have a good amount of human traffic and a good range of cultural diversity. Overall, I will be considering a place like the Herta Gallery location. Australia is very limited in color theory, mainly from the Western culture, which are very logical, as Eastern are focused more on the expression and the spirit.
As our topic aiming on the cultural diversity, there are 1 in 4 Australians were born overseas, 1 in 2 Australians one of their parents born overseas, 1 in 5 speaking their own language at home. It shows that cultural diversity takes a really big role in Australian society. Moving on to the key focus of the design, I want to use the Eastern and Western interior design and decorative styles to educate the society in cultural difference and apply to the residential premises. There are 3 key methods that I want to focusing on is the language barrier, cultural difference, and reaction behavior in the society. The reason of it is normally Asian people are easier to get embarrassed and anxiety than Western people because of the cultural issue. And the way for the people who suffers in the actual cultural barrier with easier way to engage the community and how to integrate cultural diversity and interior design to change the society environment. Moving on to the concept of the design. When we're thinking about the cultural difference, interior design might not be the first one which come up to your mind, but I will link some example to show the way to achieve it. Japanese style has more expression and spiritual, and Western style design with the simple lining and design will be more functional. And I want to bring in like different Eastern style into the Western style in the residential premises. Because of the Eastern style depends on the location. They got the different culture, religion, and behavior. For the concept, different cultural style integration, intercultural communication, engaging into the community, inclusive and accessible to different culture is what I'm aiming for the whole design.